Hey YouTube, I'm back. It's been a long time. I've been breathing. The first thing I wish to do is thank everybody who has been donating to me this year and has really given me the ability to follow what I feel like the Creator told me to do and go and breathe and have a soulful experience. That's what I've been doing, and I feel better all the time. My health is better. I feel better. I see things more clearly. It's like colors are brighter and fruit is savior and the meat is juicier. Like everything's better or something like that. And when I'm deep in meditation and breathing, I feel connected with everything. And I know that it's all going to be okay. And that law is going to be upheld one way or another. And I kind of wish to share that with everybody because I feel like the worlds are splitting. I feel like right now is when individuals have the chance to make the choice of which world they wish to go down, right? And it'll all be judged by our hearts, by what's on our heart. Is our heart full or is it empty with vain? That's just kind of my personal opinion. Anyways, you know I also have some court stuff because Oracle just went to court. She did a fantastic job, and of course, I'm gonna play some things for you, see what you think about it, because it's absolutely crazy, and I don't think the public really understands what goes on down at the courthouse in their name. So the first thing that we're gonna play is Oracle and her brothers testifying that Henry had nothing after 2013. Like he had something, he had assets, he had the ability to live from 2005 to 2013 because he was getting benefits from the trust. And after 2013, he didn't receive any benefits from the trust. None at all.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to ask you to set what you have there up on the corner
Okay.
here.
Can I,
Up to your top right there, and I'm gonna sustain the objection of Mr. Bradley.
okay. So, my testimony in Christ here, but can I leave at least this for notes to keep me?
You may not have any
Is that what you're
paperwork
saying?
with you.
Okay, so just leave it here?
No, up on the top corner there. Thank you. Any paperwork you have, you just.
What about this that I want to talk about and just put it up as,
And you'll let me know that when you want to.
okay,
at
so
the
leave this
time.
here too?
We'll set that right here too as well, ma'am. Thank you very much. All right, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just would like to say that the 11 years that I've been dragged into court here, and so many documents were not permitted to be put into the actual court record as proof, I think to me has been an absolutely abomination and a lack of true law that has been given. I do believe that there has been a lack of trust that was given to Josephine and all the trustees, as I tried my best and diligently to prove in court that that happened. I believe that, and I've had proof to show, that one of the basic and most egregious thing that occurred is that my father, Henry Rainbow, was taken care of as well as Josephine from 2005 to 2013. From 2013 till the day my precious father died, he received not one penny. I believe there's horrific malfeasance, vindictiveness by an abusive mother who continued to abuse me on the stand here and was permitted to do so. Also believe that there was tremendous financial abuse by the trustees as they broke their sacred trust to my father and to what a trust actually stands for. I also wish to say that I believe that this was a trial by ambush. I wasn't fully prepared today. I speak from my heart to say that I hold no malice against Josephine or any of the trustees. I put them in the hands of God to deal with them as he chooses to deal with them. I've always come in here, so has my father, and spoken out of not only our heart, but truly we've spoken out of the ability to tell the truth. And no, we didn't have to swear in to do that. It's always written on our heart. I come to you today with the law of God written on my heart, and I can only beseech every one of you to be able to hold accountable to God the law that may be written on your heart, whether you believe so or not. Also wish to say that when the documents were put into the Register of Deeds with the knowledge of Ryan Bradley, I believe that he helped to commit that fraud, and that it was his duty as an attorney to stop being able to represent Josephine, but to be able to expose and tell the courts when a crime has been committed, and that crime has certainly been committed and permitted by this court.
This case is so crazy. I gotta breathe. I gotta breathe through it. But you just heard Oracle Joni testifying that, among other things, Bradley should have stepped down when he realized, when the proof came out in court, that fraud had occurred. He didn't have a duty to step down before that. He could have had plausible deniability, but when he saw the court documents come out in open court that were certified by the Register of Deeds, where Josephine unjustly enriched herself by not giving Henry any benefit of the property that was in the trust he created and that he was a beneficiary of, that's fraud. When somebody excludes you, alienates you from your own property, and then sells it to the point where it's unrecoverable, that's fraud. And Ryan Bradley's representing Josephine in a civil capacity. It's not civil when you go and steal somebody's property and then sell it to where they can never retrieve it again. That's not a civil action. And that, for me, is what this case is really about, because it's like Josephine committed fraud against Henry, and should the legal society beat the crap out of the victim, beat the crap out of the aggrieved party to allow that fraud to continue, to allow it to persist? Stop you from putting anything on the record so that you can't prove your case? Because if you think they can, I got news for you. It's probably going to happen to you someday soon. It really will. And we just heard Oracle testify that Baba, Henry, didn't get any benefits after 2013 when Josephine left. No benefits from the trust. Now, that's just Joni, and, you know, she could have a different story from other people, so let's listen to everybody else. Because I gotta tell you, I'm incredibly proud of Joni for how she handled herself in this situation, in this court case. Because a lot of people would have folded. She completely got ambushed. She wasn't able to get any discovery. She couldn't ask the defendants any questions before court, not really. She couldn't make sure that they answered any questions before court. Had absolutely no enforcement power. She had a hurricane that took her house and her car about a month before. The court wouldn't give her any time to get her life back together before pushing her into this trial. And I couldn't really help her either. I haven't really been able to help her this summer, because at the beginning of the summer when she had a court date, I got what I thought was gout in my foot. And the doctor thought it was gout. Everybody thought it was gout, but the blood test came back and said it wasn't gout. And then at the end of the summer when she had her court date in August, I stubbed my toe. It was more painful than gout. Everybody thought I was gonna lose my toenail, but my guess is because of all this breathing, I kept my toenail. I have seen some miraculous things happen this year breathing. And it's like earth and nature have just been talking to me. I feel like I have hawks following me everywhere that I go. And there was a snake in my house. I've seen lots and lots of snakes in very, very uncomfortable places. Had to kill a couple. Been a pretty interesting year, but I think it's all this connection with the earth and my electromagnetic soul. Anyways, there will be enough time for that later. Let's get back to what the other witnesses say happened to Baba. Let's see if he got any benefits. Let's see if any other witness will say that he got a benefit. And just a spoiler alert, no, not one. Well, maybe one, but we'll get to that later. First, we're going to start off with Gregory and Loam, Joni's brothers. I gotta breathe. Before we get to Gregory and Loam's testimony, I wish to talk about breathing. Because looking into this past year, everybody wants to charge you to learn how to breathe. Kind of like everybody wants to charge you to know law. Kind of like YouTube now plays commercials every single minute on YouTube. It's ridiculous. This obsession with money has got to stop. It's got to cease somewhere. Go back to breathing. Alrighty. So I have been running around the woods to give everybody a little preview of some leaf season, because a lot of people aren't coming down for leaf season after the hurricane. And I've been running around the mountain. I was gonna try and film at the lake because everybody likes the lake, but the lake's not open. Half of the park isn't open. Look at all this. There's trees down everywhere. So, anyways, I figured I'd come back here and talk again. What about Trump? Isn't that crazy? I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was talking about how only the creator could have made this happen. They were like, you really think the creator pushed those bullets away from Trump's head? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I squarely believe that we are living in an alternate reality at this point. And I think that's pretty cool, right? My favorite breathing as of lately is to breathe in and hold for a couple of seconds, and then breathe out slowly, like... Breathe in, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe out slowly. My main object is to keep my oxygen levels at 100%, because that's where I feel high. Now, last year I was talking about Wim Hof's breathing. So when I'm doing this repetitive breathing of breathing in, holding, and then breathing out, right before I hold my breath, I'll take a couple of quick breaths, like... and then I'll hold my breath as long as I can. A minute and a half is the point at which you get really, really good health benefits, when you can hold your breath with no air in your lungs for a minute and a half. You get incredibly good health benefits, and your body almost kind of resets itself. I've been working on all aspects of my health, not just breathing. I've also been working on my sleep, and I have a sleeping mask. When I breathe to go to sleep with my sleeping mask, I have incredibly vivid dreams. One of those vivid dreams I'm going to share at the end of this video, and I'd really appreciate it if you could help get it to James Marshall. James Marshall is the judicial officer in Joni's case. Elizabeth Hamrick is James Marshall's legal clerk. and we have her contact information as Joni tried to contact her to set up court dates and motion hearings, which for some reason she could never really get set up with the court until a month before trial. Now that we know a little bit more about breathing, let's get back to the video and hear Gregory and Loam's testimony about whether Baba received any benefits after Josephine left or not.
My dad was trying to get his mortgage paid and a few other bills paid by Michael Probert, who wrote the checks from the trust and was paying the bills all that time for years. Exactly how many, I'm not sure when he came on. But Michael Probert was writing checks for my parents' mortgages, so forth.
Okay, so since 2005, when the trust was initiated, Michael Probert was the treasurer. And why did Dad ask you to accompany him? Can you tell me about what happened after April 1st of 2013 with Dad's financial situation, that you were completely, totally, where there was so much communication that went on between all of us?
Well, with him not having any monies, his mortgage not being paid and his bills not being paid, he was pretty devastated. He didn't know what he was going to do. He was concerned with the home that he was living in, 295. I had come up a few times because I live out of state, come up and down a few times and help him clean the property up and worked on the well pump and things like that for him and helped him financially.
At what point did you help Dad financially?
In the beginning, just what I could afford, small amounts, whatever I could afford to help him out with.
You're talking about the time, I'm referring to the time frame of April.
Right after my mom left, yes. It was about a month or so later that he had really no money aside from his Social Security.
Right. And so what kind of financial state was he in after that, after April 2nd of 2015?
Completely after that, my father had no other income from anything that came out of his trust or his estate. Except for his little Social Security check. And then even his health started to deteriorate a little bit, and I remember you taking care of him, my brothers and I taking care of him as best we could, health-wise, whatever dollars we could afford, and always under the, I guess, assumption that this was going to be straightened out in court, and he would get the money put back into the trust, and they would both be okay. And he wouldn't lose his home and so forth. Now, always believing in the law that and the courts that was going to justify, like I said, this being straightened out and put him back in the trust funds. And then going back to originally what he had always wanted when he set it up. For my parents first to be taken care of, and then it going down as far as the children, grandchildren having whatever was left out of the estate for them to enjoy, homes and so forth.
Can you tell me from 2005, when the trust was created, until 2013, how did that trust take care of Henry and Josephine?
Peace and quiet for family.
Let's deal with 1515 Fifth Avenue. When that property was transferred, again, I just want to reiterate, that went from Fifth Avenue Real Estate Enterprises, the trust, into the name of Josephine Cocorema, unmarried. Did Dad have any money from that? Oh, these are my
No,
copies.
that's okay. Do you have any more documents you're going to show?
No.
All right.
Go sit down.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you.
No, there were no funds received.
No funds received?
No.
Okay, and were any funds received from October 20th, 2022, when it went from Josephine Cocoremo, unmarried, to the Josephine Cocoremo Revocable Trust?
It was a huge transfer. $10, zero.
Okay,
Zero,
that means nothing.
$10.
so Henry Raymo received nothing, is what you're saying? Not only
Witchcraft.
that, but he was not aware of it until you pointed it out to us. From the beginning of it, I'm sorry, I apologize, from 2005 to 2013, we'll say April 2nd again. How did the trust take care of Henry and Joseph?
I had no gray hair in those days. I didn't hear any complaints from grantor, grantee. I inherited a new brother by the name of Michael Prober, who apparently his job was to become mediator, negotiator, and balanced everything, including the money.
Okay, so he was the treasurer, is that correct?
He was called the protector.
Yes, yes, he was called the protector.
Right.
But he was also the treasurer, is that did Henry Ramo benefit from any of the money, the finances, and the assets, the properties from April 2nd of 2013 till the day he died? Did he get any benefit?
He had no access to them. It was constantly denied. He was not called a grantor in the first lawsuit. It was kind of like Henry Ramo the man. So, you know, it was pretty much discredited. Got no cash, no.
No cash.
All right.
Okay.
So, right now where you're at, Miss Ramo, we're gonna go ahead and break for the day.
So we just heard Gregory and Loam. The trust took care of my father from 2005 until 2013. After 2013, I had to give him money. He lived with me and my siblings. The children had to take care of him. What about Loam? He said there were no gray hairs before Josephine left in 2013. And this is really important because, you know, the whole trial's about Baba filed a complaint in 2013 saying Josephine left with all of the trust and all of the documents and everything valuable. So it's kind of important that he never got anything after that day, after she left. But these are Joni's witnesses. This is her side of the case. Let's talk to some of the trustees and see what they have to say. But let's start asking some of the trustees, like, surely the trustees know that they gave Henry some type of benefit after Josephine left. Michael Probert was the treasurer, and he resigned shortly after Josephine left. He actually resigned 10 days after Henry filed that lawsuit. Here's what he has to say.
Can you tell me from the 2005, when you were on the bank as treasurer, until 2013, were all the bills paid?
Yes.
Okay. Was there any problem with money coming in from Alpha Partners in New York City?
No.
Okay. So every bill was paid. That took care of who?
Henry and Josephine's expenses for the property.
Okay, correct.
Dr. Michael Persinger, you should look him up. He helped the government and the CIA with their astral projection program, and he does a lot of research into electromagnetics and the brain. He developed something called the God Helmet, which stimulates spiritual experiences. And he has a lecture about no more secrets, talking about if we as people were awakened to the information in the electromagnetic field, there could be no more secrets. Deception wouldn't have a place to hide. Everybody would just be able to know the truth through their being. Think about that for a minute. Everybody could just know the truth through their being just because it's true. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? I think so.
Can you tell me again, then we'll start from, you said all the bills were paid from 2005 to 2013. Can you tell me what happened after 2013, from 2013 until the day Henry Ramo breathed his last breath? What benefit did he get from the trust?
I have no earthly idea. I took the checkbook, I turned it in, stopped everything, and from that point on, I'm not aware of what went on.
Okay, fair enough. So then, can you tell me who you turned the checkbook into? Who'd you give the checkbook to?
I don't remember the name, but I turned it into a lawyer.
Michael Probert, he was the treasurer. He has no earthly idea if Henry received any benefits after Josephine left. But he didn't see Henry receive any benefits. And at some point, he handed the documents over to a lawyer, but he doesn't know who. He handed all of the trust documents that Henry entrusted him with over to a lawyer, but he doesn't remember who. But he knows that all of Henry's bills were paid until 2013 when Josephine left, because he paid them. Let's see what Lena has to say. She's the other trustee. She's still an acting trustee as far as her testimony is concerned. Surely she saw Henry get a benefit. I just gotta breathe.
So it was for her to live in, for home. Was that still like the middle apartment?
Yes, yes.
And so it was transferred over, and as far as you know, it wasn't about the value, it was about protecting Josephine so she could have a place to live.
Correct. And live peacefully, yes.
To live peacefully.
Yes.
Okay. Was Henry Ramo aware? Did you notify him as the trustees? At the time, did you make Henry Ramo aware that you all had a meeting and you were going to transfer the property?
No, I did not.
In the meantime, so Josephine had a place to stay. Where was Henry Ramo living at the same time?
He was at, I keep forgetting the number, at Thomas Road. Is it 293 or 295? I'm sorry.
The house was foreclosed
Yes.
on before the transfer of property. So where was Henry Ramo living?
To the best of my knowledge, he was either with you or Gary or Gregory. My understanding.
My brother.
Yes, your brothers. Yes.
Okay. Was Josephine? Did she have a vehicle to drive?
Yes.
Okay. And did Henry Ramo have a vehicle to drive?
Yes.
What was he driving?
It was, and I can't remember off the top of my head. David had given him that car. It was a black car, 4-door. I can't remember the name of the car, but he had given him that car.
Okay. Were you aware that Henry Ramo spoke with Michael Probert that the car broke down just a few months after Josephine left and he had no vehicle?
No.
Did you? You were aware that Henry was living with myself and or one of my brothers?
Correct.
Okay. So that Josephine was living at 1515 Fifth Avenue.
Correct.
As the owner. Okay. So as a trustee is your current trustee, can you tell me, did the trust help benefit Josephine in her living condition to protect her?
Yes.
Okay. Did the trust benefit Henry Ramo?
Yes.
Tell me how.
Because he did have the marital home, and it went into foreclosure. The bill was not paid. The monthly mortgage was not paid. Additionally, the house was sold off at auction at a profit,
Okay. So
of which Miss Josephine Ramo did not benefit.
Excuse me?
I said the house was sold off at foreclosure with a profit, of which Josephine Ramo did not
Did
benefit.
Henry Ramo benefit?
Yes, he did.
Tell me how Henry Ramo benefited from the foreclosure.
It was what was left over from what was owed to the bank.
How did he benefit?
Whatever
Did he
was
actually-
left over.
Can she be allowed to answer? Yes, let her answer.
Okay, whatever the profit was from the sale of the house, whatever was left over from what the bank was owed.
You started answering the question about profit.
If there was any profit above and beyond what the bank was owed, am I correct or incorrect?
Can't tell you that, but if that's
Oh.
just your answer.
Oh, that's-
Okay.
That's my answer.
Did a trustee meeting take place that discussed Henry Ramo receiving $2,000 or $3,000, since you said you had a conversation with Joseph? Was that during a meeting, like a trust meeting?
No,
No?
it was just something, actually, I heard third hand, and I'm not going to name names, but that was left at that, and Ms. Ramo decided she would wait. If there was any profits made, that it would be settled with the, with the marital distribution settlement.
Today, okay. My last question is.
Yes, ma'am.
Josephine received the benefit of the sale of transfer of 293 into her name, received the benefit of 1515. Could you tell me what benefit Henry Ramo received from the trust from April 2nd of 2013 when Josephine left him to the day that he breathed his last breath and died?
Not that I'm aware of. There, to my knowledge, to the best of my knowledge, there was no cash or anything of that, no profits, basically in the trust.
Okay. I'm finished with Lena. Thank you, Lena.
You're welcome.
Aha! There's the benefit. He got to stay in a home that's being foreclosed on, and David gave him a broken down car, but it sounds like David gave him the car, not the trust. And the home's being foreclosed on, and the trust is the owner of the home, yet she's saying somehow Henry benefited? Henry was just liable for the mortgage. I'm pretty sure that when your home goes into foreclosure, the owner gets the proceeds of the sale. And James Marshall knows this too, but he wasn't going to tell her. I can't tell you that, ma'am. I can't tell you that. It's obvious as day. And I guess the whole reason Lena said those things is because that's what they've been telling the family all these years. Why wouldn't a court of law believe them, right? Henry ran off with the money. We don't have any proof, and the trust was the owner, and I'm the trustee that owned the property. But somehow Henry wasted everything. And he got a benefit of staying there while it was being foreclosed on. And she also testifies that the children took care of Henry because she took care of Josephine. She gave Josephine a house, scot-free, free of charge. Just transferred it over to her to give her a benefit, but she didn't give Henry anything for transferring it over. So she didn't see Henry get a benefit. Let's see what Josephine has to say. Let's listen to Josephine.
My husband took care of all the monies. He took care of the rental upstairs. And he took care of a business that we had downstairs. Because I never took care of the monies. Because as soon as he's always taken care of the monies. That's why, as Lena said, I had no money because he had me not working. He had me as a housewife. And he said, as long as you're a housewife, you don't have to pay the government money. And that was where our argument started all the time.
Okay, Ms. Josephine, did Lena, this is a yes or no, did Lena take care of getting renters into 1515 when you did move in there, the date unknown?
No, of course not.
Okay, was it you who?
Yeah, and they told me to what to do, so I went and I tried to get a few people, and at that time I got somebody, and I think it was like $400, which was great for me. That was good for the rentals. With the 300 and the 400, almost 3, I was getting 280 something, and then if I rented at my bedrooms, it would be okay because I told them no cooking, no nothing, just stay in there. They agreed, and I think I got it from. I think I went to the hospital. They told me to go to the hospital party and ask if anybody.
At what point can I object to the pontification of an answer?
Overruled. Go ahead and.
Ms. Josephine,
Yes.
did Henry Ramo benefit from any of the rents that you collected?
I don't know. He got them that I
When
collected.
you were living at 1515?
He always took care of the money. He always took care of the money and everything. He always did that. That was.
Would you say that you moved in 2013 into 1515? The year 2013?
That year? Yeah, I believe that year. Maybe sometime that year. Yes, but when exactly, I don't know.
Sure, okay. So that year, when you moved in 2013 and the upper level was rented, did you get to share any of that money with Henry Ramo?
No, of course not. And I just was scared to death, and that's why I went.
Well, it actually says that you asked her to sign a lease agreement and she said no. So you handled the lease agreements with your tenants.
Ask a question, Miss.
Did you
can't
handle the
remember.
lease agreements with your?
I can't
Did you
remember.
handle the lease agreements with your tenants, every tenant that came there?
No, I can't. I don't remember. I doubt if I did it because I don't remember.
But it's your testimony that you did.
Okay, well, if that's what it is, that's what it is. If that's what you're telling me.
Do you give lease agreements to your tenants now?
No.
Have you ever shared the amount, again, have you ever shared the amount of, have you ever shared the rent money that you got with Henry Ramo?
Why would I do that with him? He threw me out of the house and wouldn't talk to me. I couldn't even talk to the man. And I couldn't talk to you because you would never answer either because you were controlling him, even though I kept telling everybody there was something wrong with Baba. Everybody didn't believe me, so.
And how was I controlling it, Miss Joseph?
Well, you interfered in our marriage, did you not?
I'm asking you how.
No, not by interfering in
Can you
our
be more
marriage.
specific?
Yes, you can. I'll tell you how it. If you want to know, I'm going to tell you.
I'd like you to tell me.
All right. I was at home, and my husband and I got in an argument as usual. He's always arguing. That was my life. And he said to me, you know, when you were gone, I got in touch with Joni, Glenn, Gary, and Gregory. And we met together to figure out what we're going to do with you. Because he was angry with me. That's the only reason he told me this. And he said, and Glenn is going to say that you try to throw, that I tried to throw Mr. Ramo down the stairs. And I said, well, who else was with you? And she said, Joni did it. Joni said it. And scared the hay out of me. Because I know my daughter. I've had trouble with her since forever. I don't want to even discuss that. But I've had trouble with you and you know it. You've always made trouble for us, Joni. When are you going to stop? And that happened. I called the police on him. I have never called the police on him in my life, even though he hurt me. But I did it because your name was involved. And when the police came, he talked to me privately outside and then him privately. And he said, this is Ramo. Tomorrow morning you're gonna sleep tonight upstairs. He's gonna sleep in the other room. And you're gonna go.
12, that piece of property was the land. Was in your name, Josephine Coker Ramo, and it was sold to Trimline Associate Builders. For how much money?
What year was that?
2018. After your divorce.
Oh,
After you divorced Henry. So it's 2018.
all I remember is it was done.
How much money did you get?
Are you talking about transferring it to my name,
No, transferring it, selling it to Trimline.
Oh,
You
selling it,
personally
sell it.
Sold it to Trimline.
Oh, yes, since he's a builder, yes.
How much money did you sell it for? And do you have one question at a time? I apologize. How much money did you sell it to Trimline Builders for?
I don't know, he's the one that initiated some money, but I don't really remember.
You
How
don't
much?
remember how much money you got?
No, I really don't. I know I got some money because he was telling me that
Who's the he, ma'am? I'm sorry.
the man that wanted to buy it, he was a block away from the house, and he wanted it for his father. He's a
Okay.
builder, I think.
All right. So the amount of money that you got, did you share that money with Henry Ramo?
He didn't share his money with me. Why would I share that with him? He didn't give me no money. I had to live on $280-some a month. He had over $1,200. I think that's what he had or more. And I needed that money bad. The roof was leaking. I had to patch up that roof little by little with.
Henry took care of it, but I collected the rents when I collected them, and I didn't give Henry anything. Why would I give him anything? Because he never gave me anything. And this is all your fault, Joni. This is all your fault. That's just kind of crazy. I blame you. Well, why? Because you and Henry, y'all all conspired. Y'all all got together and did the conspiracy. He told me about it. Well, then how did you end up with everything? And Henry's living with his children. And you're saying that he gave you nothing. Just venomous. Just venomous. That was all the witnesses who testified, and they all testified to the same thing. Josephine left, and after she left, Henry received nothing from the trust. And now, the properties that were in the trust are in Josephine's personal name, which is where the fraud happened. That's fraud. Because you can't just alienate your trust partner away from their property. It was kind of hilarious because Henry got arrested for trespassing on the trust property, and Lena testifies in court and says, to the best of her knowledge, the charges were dropped because you can't arrest somebody for trespassing on their own property. Imagine that. Imagine that. This looks really, really bad. I wonder what case Ryan Bradley has. I wonder what he's going to present to the court to say, hey, all these atrocities and this fraud didn't happen. I just got to breathe.
So just listen to my questions, okay? And that'll help speed us along in this testimony. So you weren't able to, you didn't take anything with you, is what you're telling us,
No.
right?
No.
All right.
Nothing.
So at some point, do you recall, I'm going to ask you about some things that I think were left at the house, okay?
Yes.
You remember the two of you had an antique lion German chair. Do you remember that?
I remember my chair, yes.
You guys got that while you were married.
Yes, it was in
And so that remained at the house with Mr. Ramo?
Yes,
And you believe that was probably worth about $1,500?
maybe more. It was hand done from Germany.
You remember there was an antique two-piece corner cabinet. It was European.
Yes, the European.
Yes, and that is something the two of you got during your marriage?
Yes,
And you believe that was worth about $2,000?
at least.
And that was something that stayed with Mr. Ramo?
It did.
And there was a Tiffany chandelier style lamp in 1973?
Yes,
Also something the two of you got while you were married?
right.
Stayed with Mr. Ramo?
Yes,
You think it was worth about $1,000?
maybe more. Yes.
Okay. There were two Tibetan rugs, 4x6.
Oh, those were from Tibet, yes.
Believe those were worth about $1,000?
Easily, each.
$1,000 each,
Correct.
okay? And those stayed with Mr. Ramo?
Yes, sir.
You got those while you were married?
Yes.
There were two American Indian rugs?
Oh, those were worthless. I don't even know what to say. They were. I got them at a good deal. I think the woman gave it to me for about $1,500 or something for the both.
$1,500 for the both is what you paid? And that was while you were married, right?
Yes.
Not before you separated. Mr. Ramo kept those as well?
He kept everything. Yes.
There was two antique Chinese rugs, 4x6. You remember those?
The Chinese rugs. Yes, I do. I had those down there. Yeah.
What do you believe those were worth?
I don't remember what I paid for them, but I maybe about 1,500, 2,000 or more, something
About
like that.
$1,500 for both of them?
Yes,
Okay.
for
And
both.
You got those while you were married?
Oh
They
yes.
stayed with Mr. Raymond?
Oh yes.
He had a 1977 Oldsmobile Cutlass.
Correct.
How much do you think that vehicle was worth?
Gosh, I know when I was the one that found it and fell in love with it. And he asked him permission if I could have it because he had the money. And I think, don't remember if we paid $2,000 or $3,000 for it. Don't remember.
At least 2,000 is what you.
Yeah, yes.
Did he keep that vehicle?
Well, it was there in the garage, yes, sir.
And
And it was in good working condition. And my oldest son said, never give it away. Someday it could be worth a lot of money. But
you,
I didn't know that.
you said you had to ask Mr. Raymond, that was before you separated while you were married.
Yes, I had to ask his permission.
Did you have to ask him for money a lot?
Of course.
Were you able to buy anything on your own without? getting
Well,
permission?
not after I got that, see, he wanted me to, I had some money,
Okay.
okay? And I put it away little by little. I had like about, I think I had like about
You had some spending money?
$200-300,
Something you
yeah,
could spend
yeah.
on yourself? Okay. But otherwise, for bigger purchases?
Oh,
did
no,
you have to
yeah, he
ask?
had to give it to me, of course. And I thought it was okay.
Okay. Do you remember if there were 2 small hand presses for the machine shop there?
Yes.
And how much do you think those were worth?
That's another thing. That's a different thing altogether. He had an entity in that one, and it involved everything of his property that he bought. He was buying all this machinery, and you wouldn't believe it what he was buying with all the money he had. He's buying things that weren't worth a nickel, I think. I don't know. He sold them. That's all I know. He kept the money. But I saw those things, and I think my son took them. Gregory, yeah, he used to do machine thing. I think it was Gregory that took it.
Were
Yeah.
they left at the house of Mr. Raymond when you left, or had they already been given away
They were in the garage, I think.
when you left?
Yeah.
How much do you think they were worth? Those 2 hand presses?
Oh, I don't know. He always was the one that bought stuff like that. I have no idea about that stuff.
Okay. There was a garage that had machine shop items in it.
Oh, yeah.
You
A
think?
lot of stuff upstairs. We had an upstairs. It was a 3-car garage with enormous. We paid a lot of money.
You think there were about $5,000 worth of items in that garage that you left?
Probably more, but yeah.
And did Mr. Ringo keep those items? You didn't
Yes.
take them when you left?
Yes.
So,
I think
literally,
I did
this
give
is
one eye
Ryan
away
Bradley's
to my
entire
son Gary.
case. He puts Josephine up on the stand, and Henry kicked you out of the marital property. Yes, oh yeah, that's true. And he kept you from all this property we're about to mention, we're about to name off, and we're going to give a value to it, right? Because this is all administrative. The truth, it doesn't really matter what the truth is here. And he does this so long that I have the time to jump in here and talk with you about it, because it keeps going. And my favorite is when she's all like, no, it's worth more, much, much more.
Of course.
And this is what's going on in your courts right now.
Yes.
This is what's happening day in and day out.
I don't remember.
And my belief, my theory, is that the whole reason it's happening is because people don't really know that it's going on. People don't really know what's going down.
The other thing was like 3,000.
They're ignorant. They're ignoring what's going on at the local courthouse. And this happens day in, day out, every single day. This is their business. But most people consent to it. Most people agree, oh, okay, govern me.
I can't.
Decide what is right and what is wrong with accountants and calculators and who gets the most money and who has the most money to pay for the legal services. Because you don't have rights when you can't go down to the courthouse and say,
I don't know.
they did me wrong. They stole everything I have and I cannot afford justice.
Some dynasty, I don't know.
If you can't go down there and get some type of something,
Maybe.
you don't have rights.
They're worthless.
And it's clear as day. I mean, everybody testified. Everybody testified
But to me,
and
the
said
money was worthless.
Henry got benefits from the trust until 2013. Then he accused Josephine of running off with the trust and all the trust documents,
Another place.
and they never got a benefit.
Sold it to us. Long time ago. We took them there.
And throughout all of this, everybody that Henry has told, all of the attorneys, that he has told and tried to hire that did represent him at one time until they realized they really couldn't get any money out of him.
Maybe each, yeah, maybe. I don't
No,
know.
nobody ever got him a copy of this trust that he has a right
Rents
to.
from him or something like that.
Joni, when she was asking for it in discovery,
Yeah,
James Marshall wouldn't allow her to get a copy of this trust.
yes.
And this is going on down there
They were there.
in place of law.
They were there as I left.
This is your society. This is how they judge rights and justice.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Who can pay for the legal advice?
No.
Who can pay for the legal advice? I gotta breathe.
Lavender wood?
Lavender glass, 15 pieces, antique lavender glass.
Gosh. I think that was from Spain or Italy or something.
Okay?
I don't remember.
You guys got it before you separated while you were still.
Oh, yes,
How much do you
everything.
think it was worth?
Well, that was beautiful glassware. I just have a good eye for something. I don't know the price.
Yeah, but you gotta give me some idea of what you think it was worth.
Well, if it was worth, maybe I would say about $1,500 for the glassware, because that was very intricate and finely made and.
You didn't get to take it with you either.
No.
What about some antique rose-colored glassware set, 30 pieces of it?
The roseware glass.
It's antique rose-colored glassware set. There's 30 pieces to it.
Yes, I'm trying to remember where I got it from. It was there. We bought it.
How much do you think it was worth?
I don't know, maybe 1,500. I don't know, maybe more, I don't know.
And did you get to take it with you?
No,
And did you get it while you guys were still married before you separated?
oh yeah, we got everything.
There was a large 1920 Greek picture.
With the Greek picture, yeah.
What was in the picture?
What do you mean, what was in it?
What was it of?
The Greek picture, it was so beautiful. When I saw it, it reminded me of, because my sister-in-law is Greek and she talked about Greece so much, and I just love anything Greek. I love, because I was trying to learn Greek, it's, you know, but I just can't. I can't really get it because I'm trying to remember, but my mind gets upset when I remember.
I understand. This was like a landscape picture, a picture of
Beautiful.
That's what I mean, versus,
Yes.
I guess a Greek picture could mean a lot of things.
Yes.
Could have been
Yes.
a picture of Zeus.
Yes.
So,
Beautiful Greek.
how much do you think it was worth?
That was probably worth quite a bit. Maybe I'd say $1,000. Maybe.
1,000?
Maybe. Yeah.
And I assume that
Maybe
that
more.
was something you guys got while you were together before.
Oh, definitely.
And you didn't get to take it with you either?
Nothing.
And if I just say this generally to the gallery, and I know during the trial we all kind of start nodding our heads and
Right.
stuff like that. Just try not to engage with the witness and agree with the witness or shake
Okay.
yes or no. I just say that generally. Okay, thank you.
Can I just say I don't remember? Because it's
Oh, I'm
sometimes.
not talking to you. Sorry, I'm talking to everybody who's watching.
Oh,
Thank you.
I don't know. I just love things for the beauty.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that. There were several antiques in a corner cabinet. You remember that?
I sure do.
And
I
were
sure
those all
enough
things
do.
that you got while you were
Yes.
married and together before you separated?
Exactly.
How much do you think all those?
Oh, that was priceless. That cabinet was hand done in 2 pieces, had a lock on it,
How, so you got-
and everything inside of it were miniature things
Okay.
that I acquired throughout our marriage that I saved in little boxes. And I put them there. Now I would give that priceless, like, for the whole thing. I would just like, it's just, I don't know, but if somebody offered, I'd probably need the money. I would have given it for about $4,000. That's what I-
4,000. Okay.
Yes,
I just want to
yes,
hear that right correctly. So antique cabinets and contents.
yes, those little,
Antiques in the corner
yes,
cabinet.
they were miniature by famous artists.
You'd love to have them back now, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, if she could. I want my corner cabinet, please. That is
You had a
very,
bunch of books at the house?
oh, I had books galore.
And how many books do you roughly, just an idea, how many books do you think?
I read all the time. I don't know. That's how I got my knowledge.
Hundreds?
I don't know about 100, but maybe a lot of them, maybe 75, say 75, 80, something like that.
And were those all books you got while you were married before you left?
Oh, I had more than that. They were in the garage.
Okay. How much do you think all those books were worth together?
I paid, I think, like, some I paid 20, some I paid 100. It depended on the book. I don't
Do you
know.
think altogether, including the antique books, they might be worth about 1,000?
Well, they'd be worth more than that. I had one antique book that went all the way when New York City was founded.
Okay.
That particular book was worth a fortune.
How much do you think that was worth?
That was priceless. I believe it was an original.
Okay. Well, give me.
I don't know. It could have been $1 million. Who knows? $2 million. I don't know.
Okay. Do you remember how much you paid?
I did. I paid only $100. I paid $100, and he told me about it, but he had to sell the place. I remember that because they opened up like this.
Did she just say she had $1 million book? Are you for real? You can't make this stuff up.
They were all done by hand.
If it isn't clear that they aren't just making this stuff up,
A fortune.
I don't know how to make it more clear.
I didn't know it was a lot.
I don't know how to show you.
I said, I think it would be worth 1,000.
$1 million book.
But somebody told
I
me,
gotta go
"No,
back to
you
breathing.
better take him to New York City." Because I went and tried to have him appraised. I don't know where I went. There was a bookstore on Main Street.
Were they able to appraise it for you?
They said they couldn't do that. I'd have to take it to New York City, but they told me to hold on to it.
So let me ask you.
That
this.
book is rare.
If someone had offered you $20,000 for it, would you take it?
Sure enough.
Okay. So do you think that's a fair market value of it for you to sell it? In other words, if you had it?
No, it would probably be worth more, but if I need the money, I guess 20,000 is good. Because I see that I look at things even on YouTube that people are going, is it YouTube or wherever it is, that they show the antique shows.
Sure.
And they come with a little book worth a lot of money. I had little Bibles even that were old.
So do you think then it would be fair to say that all those books and the antique books and stuff would have been worth about $20,000 then? It would have been a fair market for it?
Maybe more,
But at least 20.
at least.
And you didn't get to take any of those with you.
Nothing.
They were at the house when you left.
Of course, yes, sir.
There was a bedroom set, an oak bedroom set.
Yeah.
Was it also from the same place you bought the
Yes,
table?
yes. That is a beautiful piece.
How much do you think it was worth?
I think we paid $2,000 for that one, and I think we had a dresser, but I can't remember. I had one dresser, but we didn't get the other ones, the two.
Is that the oak bedroom cabinet?
Yeah.
That's blocked?
Oh, that's another one, yes,
Okay,
yes.
so tell me first about the bedroom set. You said worth about $2,000.
Right.
You guys buy that
Over there in Black Mountain, same place, same oak, same beautiful,
while
yeah,
you were together,
yes,
and it was at the house when you left.
right. And the other piece that you're talking about,
Black cabinet.
the oak with the
Oak.
key, that was his grandma gave it to us.
Okay.
And my husband's grandmother gave it to us.
The white one.
No, it was an oak piece with lions. I think it had a little lion feet.
Okay. So I'm talking, yeah. Let's talk about a different one. That's not the one I'm talking about.
Okay, white.
There was an oak bedroom cabinet that was white. It was an antique. Do you remember that?
Okay, well, I figured I'd cut Josephine off a little early for you. But she goes on about, he kept this from me and it was $2,000 and $3,000 for another 10 minutes. Because I cut some out of the middle there too, just to try and shorten the time for you. So we basically heard Oracle's case. It's a really condensed version. And her case is Josephine ran off with all of the trust, all of the documents, and she has had control of all of the assets, and Henry hasn't had anything or the benefit of any property that he worked his entire life for the last 10 years of his life. And then we heard Ryan Bradley's case for the most part. Josephine, did you leave these things at the house and Henry kept them from you? The house that went into foreclosure? So Henry couldn't even keep these things for himself? Yes, and one of the things is that Joni brought up in her case that Henry was trying to sell the house and Josephine wouldn't consent, didn't go along with it. So he asked her about that, and she's like, oh no, I never knew about that, because she kind of has a duty to save the property too, right? To save the assets too. So that was basically Ryan Bradley's entire case. So now let's listen to the closing arguments, because that's what happens after one party presents their side of the case and the other party has time to present their side of the case. You have the closing arguments. So let's hear Oracle's closing arguments. Before we get into closing arguments, I'm going to take this time to breathe again. Sometimes when I do breathing, I do Tai Chi exercises or Qi Gong exercises, and I spread my arms out really, really wide and bring them up above my head while I'm breathing in. And then I put them together and breathe out slowly and push down. When I do these things, I can feel the electromagnetic energy going through my body with 100% body oxygen. Now, I don't feel this when I'm at 95% body oxygen or 96% body oxygen or 97. I have to be at 100%, which is why I try to be at 100% body oxygen all the time. This is why I breathe in real slowly, hold my breath, and then breathe out. I practice this with an oxygen meter on my finger while I'm walking around the neighborhood, walking up and down a mountain, going anywhere really, just to try and keep my oxygen levels going through my blood at 100%. This is when I feel my electromagnetic body. I believe that when people feel their electromagnetic body, they cannot be deceived by the lies of this world. They can see through the lies. And so, this is what I do most of the time. Walk around, breathe, find something to get into. There hasn't been a shortage of things to get into ever since the hurricane came. So, Oracle, Joni, this was the last trial that I was ever gonna really participate with, help out through, because with all my years of doing this, the courts have gotten consistently worse. And I just feel like it's already kind of been declared that we don't have any rights when it comes to having a court of law down at the public courthouse, where you can go down there and say, that person did me wrong, and I require justice. I require judgment. True. The last criminal case I helped somebody with, the prosecution didn't even file the warrants. They didn't even file the warrants, and we were already at trial. The jury was pulled, and my buddy moves. He's like, my man says, hey, can we dismiss everything because they don't have the very basic elements? The warrant, right there on the record that everything's based off of. They proceeded with the trial anyways. They said that's an appealable issue, which means you don't have a right to it. Not right now. You might have a right to it later. They just seem to torture people who believe that they have rights in any kind of way. And as one individual, I know I can't do anything about it. So I let go and let God. When I'm breathing, it gives me hope for the world. If everybody can see through lies, If no more deception can be useful here on earth, then I believe that we could create a heaven on earth. I also see it going the other way, because I've seen the bad way this could go my entire life. I also see that the world could end in a horrific way, where everybody is enslaved and alone. They don't feel connected with anything, kind of like I have felt on this planet most of my life until this past year. And it's not really that I don't feel connected, it's that I don't feel connected all of the time. One of the reasons why I'm so addicted to breathing is because when I'm deep in breath, and sometimes even making this video, I can feel the energy flowing up and down my body. I can feel my hairs stand up. I can feel this connection that lets me know that I'm part of the universe, I am special, and I have a purpose. And I can feel what my purpose is, even if I don't know it 100% or experience it right then at that moment. But just knowing that I have a purpose and what it is knowing and experiencing that purpose at that moment, at that time. And this is what I imagine having to feel like.
If you know it, sing it with us.
One thing is for sure, I truly and honestly believe and know in my heart that the Creator is going to judge each one of our souls by our heart. Whether our heart is lighter than a feather or heavier than a rock. Now back to closing arguments.
The June 4th, 2013 complaint and affidavit alleges that it was Josephine that has taken everything, furniture, jewelry. I understand that there's a discrepancy between the affidavit that she has and the affidavit that my father had, but I believe, and I didn't go into the details of all the other possessions, given the fact that she took $40,000 property and sold it and doesn't remember, finally agreed that that was her signature. I think it's proof that everything else she ever testified to, I apologize to say, is a lie. I've never called my mother a lie, but I will today, saying that it is a lie. I have firsthand knowledge of everything from the very beginning. When April 1st, when my father was, she tried to get him arrested and involuntary committal, and that didn't work based on all her journals. And she made it clear that she was going to get him and make sure he did nothing. And I don't love my mother any less for what she did because she's my mother. But I do want to say that I don't respect her at all for coming and swearing on the Bible that she would tell the truth. She didn't, and neither did the other trustees. It's not in my ability to believe that people could lie, no matter who I deal with. So it's very hurtful that people could lie. Whether you're under oath or not, you should always tell the truth before God Almighty, who's always a witness to what you say. So I'd like to say, in order to continue, and again, I want to thank you that you're the only judge who never threatened me with contempt. You never put me in jail falsely in order to shut me up so that I wouldn't say the truth of what happened, because I was put in jail, and so was my father, my brother, and so was Jonathan. So the other thing I'd like to say is, please, please, please improve the public trust of the court system I hold so dear, because I learned it from my father. He was a veteran. He loved the law. Please don't disappoint us. And not bring the justice and the restitution that's needed. Excuse my tears. I beseech you, I don't beg anyone, I beseech you to please bring true law and order and true justice as you promised me and gave me your word, not as an actor, but as a man. And please bring the justice and return everything Josephine has taken back into the estate so we could have, the whole public could have hope again that there really is justice. We have had at least four attorneys in this town go to prison for stealing people's trust money. Don't let anyone else trust fund money. My father, his whole life, he worked so hard to make sure my mother was taken care of. He worked so hard to make sure we were taken care of. Don't break the sacred trust that my father had with his children, even if she did. Excuse my tears.
It's okay, ma'am.
I also ask that you would please bring back a good law. I know you call it administrative law, but the law of God is written on our heart. It's like the Pharisees. Christ came with 10 commandments and they make 600. The law is so beautiful. It's so simple. We should come into court and say, she done me wrong. Do something about it so I won't take law in my own hands, so that the anger and the hostility and the vengeance and the rightful taking back happens in your hands. It's in your hands.
Yes. This is the other thing that I think that the case is really about. Do we, as individuals, as members of a society, have the right to go into court and say, they did me wrong? They did me wrong. They took everything away from me and they never gave anything back, and have some type of justice come from that. Even if we can't say it in your exact language and say specifically what they did wrong in law was unjust enrichment through constructive fraud on this way on that day. Even if we can't do that, do we have the right to go get our rights and justice upheld just by saying they did me wrong and explaining it to the court to the best of your ability? Because if we don't have that right, I hate to tell you, you're not free. Just breathe.
It's a beautiful responsibility you have that's been given to you. And the people of Henderson, Polk, and Transylvania County, 51,000 people said, yes, James Marshall, we want you back and we want you to stay. And everyone has always asked me who to vote for, because I've monitored the courts for 30 years. I've been in this court. Please don't disappoint the people, because they're looking at this case from here to Israel and here to New Zealand, not just because I'm a minister, but because emails and texts and blow up my phone all the time of what's happening in the court. I'm sorry that people are afraid to come to court. Please make them not afraid to come to court. They keep saying, I don't want to happen to you what happens to me. So only my brave brothers and Jonathan and a few of my friends. But believe me when I tell you that we're texting, calling, going to prayer meetings, nonstop. So I ask you once again, please, Judge Marshall, you would take into consideration those 2 dates, and I reiterate that those 2 dates had to do with August 9th, August 10th of 2022, that there be a certified audio admitted of my father's testimony, because he's now a dead man, but that his dead voice still cries out for the justice. When he asked Josephine, why did you steal and why did you take everything? And she still has never answered that question. She has still never answered the complaint and affidavit truthfully and honorably since 2013. And neither did anyone else, nor were the interrogatories answered directly with truth and with forthright, and anything that I could lay my hands on to be able to give an appropriate trial. And given the circumstance, I never feel sorry for myself, but I've done the best that I could. I want to appreciate that you told me that I did a good job of being able to do, and I have, even if I don't agree, the highest respect for court, the highest respect to tell the truth, and I will walk away from here with so of my brothers with our heads held high, no matter what decision you make. But I do say unto God, please make the right just decision so we can be restored into believing, and the public can believe that there are some judges that do the right thing. Everybody's waiting for this, including God, what your decision will be. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am, thank you.
Well, that's Oracle's closing argument. And even with everything that the court did to her, she didn't hold it against James Marshall. She actually thanked him. Thank you for not arresting me like everyone else did, or threatening me with arrest just to get me to shut up. See, from our point of view, it's kind of an improvement that she did not get arrested for going in there and saying, that woman did me wrong. That woman did my dad wrong. That woman did Baba wrong. That woman did her husband wrong. This is the time that she didn't get arrested for going in there and saying that, because she's been arrested for that before. And this is why I don't think the public's really going to care, right? Even though they can see what's going on. But see, they haven't gone down their Wizard of Oz journey yet. See, they don't either have the brains to see what's going on, which I think is almost ridiculous because it's so self-evident, or they don't have the heart to know what truth and justice actually is, to know the difference between right and wrong, or they don't have the courage to stand up for it. They don't have the courage to go and tell their elected officials that they put into power, you're doing the wrong thing, and I wish for you to stop. I wish for you to follow the law. Wizard of Oz journey. You know, we just all got to find our lion, scarecrow, and tin man. The one inside of us. The one inside of us. But I thought Oracle's argument was pretty good. It was heartfelt. She knows that there's a higher court than what's going on this worldly plane, and that it will be upheld. She knows that within her heart, within her soul, that the law will be upheld. Now, let's see what Ryan Bradley has to say for his closing argument. I just gotta breathe.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bradley.
I'll be brief. I'll just say I know the court's filtering out what may or may not be in evidence as a closing argument because, but here's what we do have for purpose of equity distribution. You have an asset that being proceeds from the sale of the New York property. The testimony was it was a purchase or a sale that occurred. The note ownership occurred during the marriage. That subsequent to the separation, $328,000 some change was held in escrow. Those are clearly marital funds. I ask you to distribute those marital funds. There, what you have is possession and ability to distribute the 295 Thomas Road property, specifically the 295 property was testified as acquired during the marriage. There was a value put on it through direct testimony of Mr. Gary Ramo, based on what the late plaintiff in this case believed the present market value to be immediately after separation of the $226,500. You have in evidence what the indebtedness was on that property. So there's about $35,000 roughly that was wasted away. We have only testimony from my client's inability to access the property, inability to control the property, otherwise functionally do anything with it, and her lack of knowledge about any type of mechanisms to save any type of equity that may have existed in that property. So I ask you to attribute that appropriately as a marital asset, at $35,000 worth of equity that would have been there. Further, you have in testimony now from personal property, roughly $57,500 worth of personal property testified to.
How much did you say? I'm sorry.
$57,500. It's a cumulative value of personality testified to that was acquired during the marriage, existed on the date of separation. It was in the possession and de facto distributed to the husband in this case that my client does not have and did not have. I ask you to distribute that to the plaintiff in this case as well. That's all you have for marital property in this case. The law is really clear on what has to be put into evidence regarding a time that the property was acquired, so the court can make the classification, can make a valuation, has the authority to distribute it. We heard about a number of other things in this case. Some of those, I think, lack value for the court. I think they lack classification for the court. There's a whole bunch of ownership things that are going on here, so we can only truly look at the things that we know are marital or traceably marital to these two parties. And we know the funds that came in their marital name from an obligation that they accrued many years ago in New York is marital. We know the personal property that was purchased between the two of them is marital. And we know, based on the tracing of my client's testimony regarding the purchase of 295 Thomas Road specifically, and the testimony from the plaintiff on behalf of the estate as to how that deed went forward from the marital funds, that clearly the court, well, it's very questionable whether they could do something with the property itself based on who's a party in this case, but you certainly can give the marital equity consideration in the wasted away $35,000. So, Judge, by my calculations, and of course I know Your Honor is going to pour over the notes and pour over everything that's been admitted into testimony, but there's about a $46,250 distributive award that would be due to my client from the remaining proceeds of being held in trust. I do ask Your Honor to order me to distribute whatever in this final order, the money that I've been holding in trust. But my argument to you now is that $46,250 of that should go to the defendant. In this case, the remainder to be distributed to the estate so that it may further be distributed in accordance with the law in that estate case of Transylvania County. I do not know, given the nature of this, if the court wants to inquire with the Honorable Ms. Brown in Transylvania about how that should be held in the interim. I'm happy to do whatever you tell me to do, but I do ask that you tell me to do something. So,
Yes, sir.
thank you for hearing this.
All right. Let me say thank you to everybody involved. Okay. I know there's some people were here yesterday, maybe the day before that aren't here today, but generally everybody's been here the 2.5, 3 days we've been doing this. So I want everybody to know that I thank you for letting me hear the case. Okay. I take this as a privilege when people let me hear their cases. Okay. So thank you.
Well, it just makes me have to breathe. Everything that I'm hearing. Henry had a living, he had a home, everything was good until Josephine left, and then he didn't get anything, and nobody knows why. But Ryan Bradley's argument is, you can't consider that. They didn't say it was marital property. So you can only consider the things I'm telling you can consider. James Marshall is in a predicament. We all know what the higher law is here, right? But see, James Marshall is an administrative judicial officer of an equitable distribution court. I mean, it's basically like an accounting court, right? Everybody shows up and it works really, really well if all parties are open and honest, if they disclose everything to each other, if the court makes them disclose everything to each other. But that didn't happen here. So what will James Marshall do? I don't know. I don't know. But I know what I've done. You know, what I've done when I see these things go down at the courthouse, when I see these things going on, I try to tell people, hey, this is incredibly dangerous. They're believing the liars. And there used to be a time where I felt like you could kind of get some sort of law here. You could at least stop them from breaking every law against you. But I think that time may have come to pass. What I decided last year, and the reason I made those videos was, you know, I can't change it. Like, I've tried my best, and the public does not wish to finance this enough for me to keep going. So, even with all these ideas I have, the public values me at minimum wage. And that's okay, because I'm happy, and I sleep better, and I breathe better, and I feel like I feel everything awakening. I feel like heaven is about to come to earth, and I don't know how or why. I can't explain it. Because it's coming inside of me, like it's awakening inside of myself. And with that, James Marshall, I really made this video for you, brother. I really hope you see this. And I know it could make you upset and push you into doing something that would be detrimental to Joni. But it could also give you a chance. And the only thing I've ever believed free will could be is a choice between living for the Creator or living for yourself. That's the only thing I really truly believe free choice to be, free will to be. And so I had a dream a long time ago. It was between the September and October court date. And I felt compelled to tell you this dream before the trial, but I guess I didn't have the courage, man. So now I'm going to put it out right now after another little breathing video. Thank you again to all of the donors who have made this possible. Without you, I could have never done this. I appreciate it. The main reason that I'm making this video right here is to talk with James Marshall. You see, that last little short video was thanking him for getting me to dance again, which I still very much appreciate. And I was gonna make a video talking about these things, but then Hurricane Hell came. Anyways, James, I really hope you get this message. It's pretty important. I had a dream. Hello. How are y'all? Pretty good. Y'all be blessed. So I had this dream, and in my dream, we were at the trial. Joni's trial against Josephine. And you weren't there. You weren't there, and Bradley was the one exercising judicial authority, and I was livid. I was absolutely upset. And because we're walking in the dream world, I'm like, where's James Marshall at? Where's James Marshall at right now? I summons thee. And then I was in your chambers and you were hiding behind your desk. And I was like, what are you doing? You're breaking the law. Absolutely upset with you. And you were like, well, I'm not breaking the law. Bradley's breaking the law. And I said, whoa. It's your responsibility, buddy. It's your responsibility to make sure the law is upheld when you are ministering a court before the public. And after a little bit of back and forth, you said something to the effect of, well, whatever, you can't make me. You can't force me to follow the law. And I was still upset at that point. And then you were told in my dream, okay, you're right. I can't make you follow the law. But the judgment for these actions in law is your immortal soul. And if you're fine with that, that's free will. Not much I can do about it. And it was heavy on my heart to tell you this dream. If the Creator puts it on your heart and gives you the courage to send this to James Marshall through his clerk, Elizabeth Hamrick, and her information will be attached in the description. I know I don't have to teach or tell my viewers this, but for anybody who may be new who's watching this, please do not use any type of violent language. Do not make any type of threat. If the Creator puts it on your heart to send this, send it with love and compassion. Maybe let them know the contents that are in this video. And if the Creator gives you the courage, maybe tell them that you understand the law here, and you expect for the higher law to be upheld. And you believe that judicial officers take an oath, swear an oath to God, that they will do so. And then thank them for their time and their public service. I truly and honestly believe that the law is going to be upheld by our Creator. And judgment is now, even if it comes in forms that we didn't exactly imagine or ask for. It will be fair, it will be just, and it will be swift. Thank you for watching. Oh, gracious God, Source, Creator of all life, thank you for all the blessings that you bestow upon me and my people who walk this earth in your glory. I know we don't always understand, but we open our hearts and we wish for you to guide us. You guided me to breathing, clearing up my lungs, giving myself better health, lower blood pressure. You told me this journey I walked in the courts was over for now, and that I needed to focus on you again. And I've done the best of my ability. Oh Father, oh gracious Source, I've tried to the best of my ability to show your people here and to show you the links that the courts are willing to go, the lies that they will openly display on record, the truths that they say they're blinded from. Maybe this is why people say justice is blind. I just gotta breathe. And you give me the life, you give me the source, you give me the energy. And I don't know what it is, but even at the time where I feel like my spirit should be the most broken, you fill me with faith and joy. I don't know what's coming next. Only you do. Oh gracious Creator, Source of all life, you know all of our hearts. You can see in each and every one of our minds. You know what we deserve and what we should be forgiven on. I pray that you teach others how to breathe and use their energy body, that you take others who are deceived and you give them sight to see what's really going on, to see what your plan is, what your glory is. Like the sight you gave me when you told me that Ryan Bradley was going to bring in the trust just to rub it in Joni's face when Joni was out of time, and to make sure Joni kept a few minutes on the clock because she knew about paragraph D. the alienation clause, and you saw your child, Baba, who's now up there with you in heaven. You saw what happened to him. And no matter what these earthly courts decide, you have the power to decide bigger things. I've seen you do it. I know you can do it. I know one thing is true, that when you decide these things and when you pass judgment upon us, it'll be true. It'll be true to the heart that you know. We will judge ourselves with the same judgment that we would place on other people. The law that we would give to others is the law that we shall receive in the end. And if I'm wrong about all of this, if I missed heaven coming to earth somehow and it skips me by, I know I tried and did my best to follow your voice, Lord. I ask for your guidance everywhere that I go. And I apologize if I didn't fulfill your wishes to the best of my ability. Please forgive me. And I still know that I am blessed and you're gracious for the way that you have gotten me to feel, for the health that you have restored to my body, for the life that you have brought back into my soul this past year. And I appreciate every blessing that I receive from you with humility, knowing I may not deserve it for the sins I have committed. And I ask that you forgive me, just as I ask that you would forgive my brothers and sisters who have trespassed against me. I am honored by your blessings. And am humbled to feel them. Now, the present, into eternity. Please let your Son's conscious Christ be present on earth once again.
His Newsreel Films presents exciting news. Is the divorce over? Are spirit and science tying the knot once more? Are the church and the laboratory saying the same thing? Out of the misty ages of antiquity, the quest for the divine and the quest for knowledge about the universe marched hand in hand. Ancient Sumer, there was a god of astronomy, a god of horticulture, a god of irrigation, and the temple priests were the scribes and technologists investigating these fields of knowledge. Ancient Greece, philosophers asking the questions of why are we here, developed the theory of the atom, celestial movements, and human ethics. Medieval Europe, the Western Church arose to a position of supreme power. Kingmaker, landowner, and purveyor of the truth. The Church took it upon themselves to be the one knower of everything. The dogma was law. Yet science had moved forward and now challenged the dogma that the Earth was the center of the universe. Copernicus, Bruno, and Galileo all felt the heavy hand of the Church. The tragedy. unable to suppress science anymore. The church and science divided up knowledge and human endeavor. Descartes invented dualism. The church had the unseen, science the seen, and materialism was born. An uneasy truce. Scientists were no longer being bound, and they reacted with a vengeance. All the unseen is fantasy, delusion. We are strictly little machines running in a predictable machine universe governed by strict immutable laws. The church pushed back. Soulless scientists were condemned to hell. Darwin countered. The creator is nothing, nowhere. We are random mutations, simply a carrier of TNA's relentless quest for more in a meaningless universe. And meanwhile, both science and religion were hitting the wall. If everything was mechanistic and God was the holy creator, then what were we humans supposed to do? Science dug ever deeper into a dead universe and stumbled upon and unlocked a mystery. In tiny corners of space and time, scientists found unfathomable energy and mind-numbing mysteries. Mysteries that suggest we are all connected, that the physical universe is essentially non-physical. Time and space are just constructs of this non-materialness. And today, renegade scientists are meeting with religious leaders. Conferences pushing forward a meeting of science and spirit are springing up. As the 20th century blew open the doors of a mechanistic view, will the 21st century blow down the iron wall between the church and laboratory? This is your Is Newsreel reporter, signing off.